Good morning, everybody. Uh, I'm going to talk about a very simple topic today. It's about having some approach for implementing BIM. So there's lots of approaches, and everybody talks about the benefits and challenges and things like that. But I'm focusing on the SUM approach with a couple of case studies for work that we've done in India. BIM adoption is global. And every country, every region has their own set of guidelines, own set of mandates and standards. And this brings about its own set of challenges. But when we look at the main reason why we want to adopt, it's the benefits that we are going to get. And there's different ways of adopting. So there's an all approach where we are implementing all the dimensions of BIM, right from 3D to 10D or whatever more can come up. And then there's the SUM approach where we choose to implement certain use cases that are going to give us the most benefit for our problem or to address the challenge that a particular project or a client has. And then there's the none approach where you don't feel the need to adopt BIM, primarily because it's a very simple project or you're just not ready for it right now in terms of a whole bunch of factors. So what do we mean by an all approach? I'll first start with that. Essentially here we are implementing a lot of BIM dimensions. It could start with 3D, go up to 7D, or it could just go beyond 7D also. So one of the projects that we worked on, I'm going to talk about the challenges for that and then some benefits of that. So essentially when we look at an all approach, the challenge we face is in terms of people, process, technology. We have a tough time finding skilled people. The teams involved range from the design to construction to execution. There's subcontractors. There's a lot of processes that we need to change. So we're used to working in a certain way, and suddenly you ask everybody in the supply chain that now you have to use a cloud-based platform. You cannot use any paper. It's all digital. So it's a cultural change that needs to happen. There's a lot of pushback that happens. And also, when we talk about technology, it's a huge investment for any organization. So the initial investment is high. There's complexity in integrating all of this. And it's not just an investment that is initial. It's an ongoing investment. Typically, when we talk about any construction project, it's spread over multiple years. So we have to invest for multiple years. Also, once we've trained people, retaining them is again a challenge that we typically face when we want to adopt BIM. And these are some of the factors why people or organizations back off or are on a back foot when it comes to adopting all the dimensions of BIM. But there are benefits because this model gives you a single source of truth. There's transparency. So everybody is working off a single model or a single data source, and you can just know what's happening. You can monitor your projects better. You can reduce the rework that happens across different phases. And there is definitely the life cycle management is better. So we only think about design as a 10% of the project's life cycle, another 15% maybe for construction, but the remaining 75% is when the asset is operational. And it's during this phase that we want to get benefits out of what we've done in the earlier two phases. So if we have an implementation approach where we're implementing the entire digital gamut of tools that is available, our lifecycle management is better. So there's lots of work that has been done by us in different pockets of India and abroad. And I'm going to look at one case study where we've got this whole all approach implemented. So essentially, once the model is built, we have the 4D done, the time-linked schedule, the cost is done, we can start generating reports out of it. So in this case, this is one report that just tracks what is the land parcel, who owns what, is it a government-owned property, is it a private-owned property. So this helps not only the people who are doing the construction understand what's happening, but it's also from an owner's perspective that they know if they have all the land acquired. Now this is for a linear project, and in a linear metro kind of a road kind of a project, this makes sense having this kind of monitoring. Obviously, monitoring the plan versus actual progress is a big advantage for any project, and that is something the all approach will give you. Then there is the cost benefit. So we can plan whatever we want on paper, that this is my budget, this is when I'm going to finish it. But as we start gathering data from site, we can know that where I stand in terms of what I had planned, and having an integrated approach of capturing the data and then using it to monitor just helps us do much better. And at the end of it, we can get a dashboard that helps us get all of this together. So in this case, we can see what is the time progress in terms of number of days, what was planned, what is the current status. If we want to go down at a micro level, here you can also see that it was estimated to finish in 25. It's already 63 days delayed. So at a micro level, you can go track it. In terms of your project cost, what had you budgeted for, how many contracts are awarded, and how much amount is paid to date. So your cost monitoring also can be done when you have the integrated approach. And then if you wanted to go down at a micro level, again, this is for a linear asset. So here you can see that for one line, we had planned to finish in November 22. We've already delayed by 424 days. And the percentage of complete is 31. Whereas the contract value for that particular line also versus what is planned and what is the actual expenditure. So all this can still be captured if we don't have a digital repository, but it's again all manual data that gets gathered, and there's a lot of errors that can happen. So essentially the all approach lets you get everything together integrated. On this particular project, there's been savings in terms of the construction because of clash detection was done earlier. There's been savings because people don't have to travel to gather information, to go for meetings. You're saving on time for that. And then there is savings because of overhead costs or unbudgeted costs are eliminated. So this all approach does result in savings and benefits, but the challenge also is that not everybody is ready to make that kind of investment. And if we try to get clients to go for the all approach, it sometimes is an uphill battle for them to make that investment. So this is where the sum approach is much more better to do. Here essentially we are going to work with clients who want to do address certain challenges. They may not want to do the entire 5D or the entire 4D, but they might have a use case where they just want to do two things that are a problem for them, and those need to be addressed. And this is essentially a good way for us to get started because the challenges are not as much. You don't need a huge team. You're addressing a certain use case, so the scope is limited. Sometimes the challenge with this problem is also that because you're focused on one problem that you're trying to solve, you forget to look at the other problems that you could have solved. And so there's missed opportunities. Sometimes there's misunderstanding or incomplete understanding because, again, you're looking at one problem. But the benefits are also there because it just helps you enhance your visualization. There is a focus on a certain problem and you're trying to address that. So your ability to address that problem is much more efficient, and you're making informed decisions. And then the people process technology part is not as complex because it's a smaller problem we are trying to address, and so we don't have to make such a high investment and things like that. So again, if I look at a case study on how this some approach can help, essentially it's one of our clients is building a steel plant, and their problem was that they wanted to have better control on the quantity of material that they were using and the time it was going to take to complete this. So they just had two problems that they wanted to address. So after having the model and everything done, what we have is reports that help us track what was the quantity that was planned, what is the expected status at the end of the month, and what is the present status. So this is in terms of the quantity that we are tracking for different elements within the structure. Similarly, at a furnace level, I mean, this is a stove, and there also you have installation challenges, quantity challenges, and just having the information helps you plan better for the next month. I'm not going to say it is going to eliminate all challenges entirely, but it just helps plan better. And then on weekly basis, you can monitor what's happening in terms of the equipment that's on site, in terms of your work that you have to do. And it streamlines a lot of processes because your focus is narrow. Little bit about Excelize. I am a co-founder here. We are a 19-year-old company that's based out of India, and we are doing work across the globe. We do a lot of work in different sectors, from metro and roads to hospitals and everything else possible. And I'm very happy to answer any questions anybody has. Thank you.